it's Laura from Southern Arizona. I'm at the Yarn Closet. This is my yarn closet. I tried this yesterday. It didn't go as well as I was hoping. I seemed to be just blathering on, and darn it, I forgot one of my items. Oh well, I'm not going back. I'm legally blind. I live in the country in Southern Arizona, about an hour and a half from the border. And I like to knit and crochet and loom knit and flat bed knit. I've had a CSM sock machine. I've had a couple different kinds. But I have some shoulder issues, and I don't want to, I am also 52 years old, I'll be 53 in September. I don't want to cause bigger problems. So I've given up some of my stuff. I tend to chat about family life. So here's a bit of a chat. I haven't washed my hair since Saturday, and it's Tuesday. I will go in and wash it after this, probably. I got a trim last Thursday. She did a great job. It was a little bit more uneven, weirdly uneven in the back. So she didn't do much in the front, just kind of trimmed it. Love her to death. And I'm going to stick with waiting and see, when it gets a little bit longer. My daughter wants it to be like this long. Hers is maybe a little bit longer. But she wants us to have matching hair, and she's in third grade. Third grade ends in May, fourth grade starts in July here. I realize my window of her wanting to match me is going to be short here, short. So I'm just going to embrace it while I can. I think that the longer it is, the more it draws my face out. It's not, I think when it was shorter, it gave me more of a style. I looked like I had more style, and that I might be a little bit more edgy or something. But I definitely like the way that Sherry cuts it, because she will eventually get it back to a blunt cut where it just feels fuller at the ends. And a little bit healthier. I'm of that age where things have started to thin. It has started to really thin underneath here. It's getting some gray. We're getting some gray in here. This will look cool. I'll look a little Bonnie Raitt when that goes more gray. But see how I have to kind of tuck it behind my ears, but then pull it forward so it still looks a little bit full? Yeah. And that's harder when you do the ponytail. So I tend to only do these lower ponytails. Otherwise, if I do higher ones, it looks like a cow sucked my head. And yeah. Don't know where my round glasses are. Put them down, couldn't find them. Don't know. But look, this is one of Fat Squirrel's bigger bags that she made briefly. I love that it closes like that at the top. It's very carpet bag-like. I think she's doing some kind of mass inventory sellout on the 1st of April. So check that out if you haven't ever checked out her stuff. I do Fat Squirrel Fibers. I do love her stuff. So I took this on Saturday. We went to a thing at school. It was a kids chef kind of competition. My daughter was in the youngest age group. It was 3rd grade through 8th grade. So we had a dad coach. So our group really didn't do anything ahead of time. And one of the older, I think it was a group of 6th and 7th grade girls, won. And they got $1,000 split between the 4 of them. 2 other groups got $50 gift cards at Walmart. It was fun, and I'm glad that she had fun the whole time. the coach said she was really on it. She knew her stuff. She could speak really well with the judges, and she's excited about it. She got this kid's cookbook like I used to have growing up, that she's been looking through, and who knows if she'll want to do it next year or not, but if she does, you know, it'll be a little bit easier. She'll be a little bit more on task, and I honestly think my husband was more concerned about what it was going to be like. I went to cooking school and did some competitions in cooking school. So, and I didn't go for like a 4-year cooking school. I went to a 2-year cooking school, and I got the certificate a year and a quarter into it. I think they were still at quarters back then. I mean, this is back in 1990. When I was younger, I paid for my schooling, and I did some fun stuff. I did cooking school because I was interested in it. Worked in a kitchen and hosted it at one restaurant, and was like, no, this is not actually for me. I didn't realize that a big part of why it wasn't for me was my eyesight. I didn't realize that that was what was hindering me on a lot of fronts back then. I was declared legally blind at 36, 36. But the doctor said I've probably had been there for a few years. When I had gotten my eyes checked when I was 28, the doctor said, you're within a few years of being legally blind. So let's say 32. What is legally blind? I can see. I can't actually see functionally out of my left eye. So sometimes I do close it. I can see some light and dark, but also movement in, like a patch of light, will make me dizzy or lose my footing. So I see like looking through a straw in this eye, a very small area, and it's very cloudy. I have retinopathy of prematurity. I have ocular albinism. I have Charles Bonnet syndrome. I have nystagmus. I have astigmatism, nearsightedness. Something else I'm forgetting. And so all of this together causes a lot of stuff. But I have this thing right over here that helps me. It's like a computer, but it's a magnifier that helps me with stuff. I have magnifiers in the house. I use magnifiers on my phone. I use audio stuff on my phone. I had more range of vision when I was younger, but probably not as much as my family thought. I managed to get a hold of some of my medical stuff that my mom had from when I was little, and she didn't even realize that what the doctor was saying in the paperwork was that I was already legally blind in my left eye always. Like, it was never a functional thing. I did drive a car. I did do stuff. I got some businesses over the years because I bought my own computer screen that was much larger, or did things because I really didn't understand accommodation. I didn't know that all computers have accommodation for hearing and blindness in them. We weren't really in that zone. So, you know, whatever. I have an interview with the principal at my daughter's school next week. So maybe I will be able to be a volunteer this year or next year. I had done that at my son's school in Tucson. And after a full year of volunteering as a position in the library, they hired me to be a paid librarian, which I did for 2 years. And I also worked in the office and the lunchroom, and did after school programs. So I can do stuff. There's just sometimes I might confuse one kid with another because they look really similar to me. I don't see fine detail all that well. You know, but I still want to be a part of life. I got to be an example to my kids, right? So, yeah. Ooh, I've got a hold at my library. I think that is coming available. I've been listening to some Lisa Unger and knitting. I knit while we were at the thing. I just moved this, so I've probably knit this much, maybe a full inch or more when I was at the thing. A couple of kids came up to me and were like, oh, I knit or I crochet. So that was fun. I've also made one skein progress on my cream colored textured like pashmina deal. I think I'm only going to end up with maybe 65 to 70 inches, which I think will be very short if you put that around your neck. I think that'll be very short. Like, I think it'll just come to like my waistband. And I'm going to have to use different color to put pockets in it to make it a reading shawl. But that's my plan. Now I'm going to do it. And I might completely take it apart once it's already done. I don't know. I've decided after I've gotten rid of so much of the yarn this year that instead of just donating things once they're completely done and I really don't like them and I've blocked them and I've tried to wear them and they just sit, instead of just donating them, I'm going to just take them apart and use the yarn again for something else. I obviously liked the yarn or I wouldn't have bought it. So I just didn't have the right project for the yarn or something. And this is my Danish inspired sweater from the book Danish Sweater. It's going to be a little bit bigger than I'm anticipating. And it might work for me. And once again, if it doesn't, then I'm going to take it apart. And I'm just not going to be buying yarn. I'm going to use the yarn up until I get the thing I want with the yarn that I have. And be very mindful of those purchases. I mean, this is the year of trying to really not spend except for like kids grow and you got to buy them new clothes. I'm trying to just donate everything that I can that is not functional in our home that we don't use. Trying to get my husband to go around and get rid of like some of the junky stuff that is kept. If we're not running a functional farm anymore, then we don't need to keep all this junky stuff in case, because there is no in case. You know, we can be very, very mindful of what we do keep in case of, you know, the apocalypse. But that's my opinion, not his opinion. I also like to have stuff far more organized because, of course, if it's not organized, I don't know what it is. If I've got to look through too much stuff, I don't know what it is. And he's just not an organized person at all. And the financial reality of life right now, we can't be buying stuff if we've got it. And we've got to use what we have. And we're very lucky at our ages to be in the position where we're living off retirement income. And I think a lot of people would say we're living it off of it well. But I also have parents who are elderly retired people from 75 to 86. Does that mean he's going to be 87? No, 86, 11 years. And I know how you can get in a situation at retirement that seems financially feasible. And then within 20 years, all of a sudden it's not as feasible. I mean, my dad, who's 86, was doing fine at retirement. At 66, he still worked part-time as a H&R Block person until he was like 73. Because he liked it. That's what he did. He was a CPA. But he could live on his income, and he had enough left over to have a car and insurance and to golf and to do some of the things he wanted. He made some trips back and forth to Minnesota in those early years. But now, Now the expense and of things is so great that he's on a very tight budget. And I realized that like that's a reality for me. I'm going to be 61 when my daughter graduates high school. And I've committed to helping them through at least community college if they live at home. But I think they're going to have to live at home for much longer, don't you think? So my attitude is, I guess I'm going to do what I can to make that as good as I can for them, and to try to be more mindful of getting myself in a retirement situation and still being there to help them, because my kids are going to be so much younger when I'm the age that my parents are now, because I didn't have them until I was 36 and 43. I really want to be able to make that as seamless and easy for them as possible. And that also may mean that I may not be, because I always thought I'd be living in a 55 plus community by the time I was like 65. Well, that may not be a reality, because they'll still be so young. They may need a place to go back to still. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to feel like in that point. Because luckily that is a little more than 10 years off. But for right now, in this minute, in this moment, I'm doing the best I can. And hopefully I'll get in there into some capacity of volunteer and be able to broaden my life a little bit, be a good example to the kids, that you got to keep trying no matter what. Because someone did ask, and yes, if I go and I volunteer, even if I'm only at school, say 2 days a week, those evenings when I come home, I will be done. I will have to have planned ahead, and we'll be having like French toast and sausages for dinner. And I won't be reading homework help on those nights. My son will be helping his sister. And, because that will tax my eyes so much. But I think them seeing the reality of that again is good. Because you do have to learn how to push past your comfort level. All of this stuff in today's society of, accommodate. Sure, accommodate to some extent. But also push yourself. Push yourself to some extent. Understand that, everybody has to push themselves. Everybody is going through a difficult time in some capacity or another in their life. We just don't know what it is. We just don't know what it is. So, I don't know. So that's my spiel today. Trust me, it's far less ranty than yesterday. I hope you enjoy these moments of knitting. A little break. I think we're pushing the 20-minute mark, and that seems pretty reasonable. So I am focused on looking with my heart first, not my eyes. And I did get through my walk this morning. I've been walking between 5,000 and 6,000 steps, which takes me about 45 minutes. Then I do my vibration plate, 10 minutes. And while I'm on the plate, I do some different exercises with a little dumbbell I have for my arms. And I do some stretching with my neck. And I have kept it up now. The vibration plate has been almost a full month. And the walking of more than 5,000 steps a day has averaged out to 8 weeks now. And I'm not upping it. I'm not. I'm going to stay here because I know that as the heat increases, that's going to be harder for me to meet. So I'm just going to leave it here, and I'm going to focus in on consistency. consistency over a much longer term, because I really think that's how we accomplish stuff. I know that when I was a kid and I was struggling at the college level because of my eyesight and I didn't realize it, but there was also a mentality that I was raised with of constantly doing something new and different and new and different and new and different. It was overwhelming to think that college could be this 6-year endeavor that just seemed like too long. My ability for commitment was like not great when I was young. And I really think that didn't start to really blossom until my late 20s, early 30s. And I still think I have struggled with it. And into even now. But in some ways, I mean, it's really grown, and I have been able to obviously commit 10-year marriage, kids for 16 years. There are things that I have committed to, animals for decades. But what I'm saying is, I'm trying to instill in my kids and trying to show them that it's not an immediate gratification. If anything, I weighed myself recently. I weighed more now than I did at the beginning of February at that doctor's appointment. But I know that that's muscle. I know that's muscle because I'm not eating more and I'm still eating high protein. But I know it's muscle. My pants are actually looser. So I'm just, we don't always have to be pushing to that next goal. We can stay in one goal and have the goal of consistency over a long period of time and see where that gets us. Because that might be shocking in the long run. And wouldn't that be cool? Okay, look with your heart first, not your eyes.